and welcome to another episode of Spiritual Diner, a live stream about consciousness, personal growth, manifesting, spirituality, learning to love yourself, expanding community, and so much more.
And each week we prepare an energizing and high voltage menu of fresh and healthy perspectives to nourish your mind, body, and spirit as we move on through this fabulous journey called life. And I'm so happy to be with you today, Vash, on Spiritual Diner, talking about energy.
So am I know, right? I'm Vash Boddie. I'm a journalist, manifester, healer. Some say I'm a coach, and I like that better. Recipient of messages from a spirit guide and the creator and focuser of energy.
And so much more. I'm Tammy Reyes. I'm a teacher. I'm an intuitive. I'm a lover of animals, gardening, art, history, all things beautiful. And I am hoping to manifest luxury travel.
Ooh, put me in for a cabin right next to yours. Together, okay. We make up the Spiritual Diner, and today's special is just about ready.
And in this episode, we're serving up energy.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. The appetizer is a sampler platter of intention and an exploration of reality. And if you're new here, please take a moment, like and subscribe wherever you happen to be seeing us. We are on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, because Spiritual Diner is always open for you, and we want you to be served.
And there is no finer diner in all the universe.
All right, Tammy.
Yeah.
So last week, our message, or our focus, I should say, was on the power of words. And we talked about some powerful words that we think people should want to use. And we talked about some powerful words that we thought people may not want to use. And it's really sort of important for us to, I would like to revisit a couple of the words, or categories, I should say, to make sure that we really do a service to people.
Absolutely. What are the two words that were concerning you that you want to address?
Well, for me, I wanted to address the words until and when. I mean, when we're talking about manifesting and setting intentions, it's important to allow the universe to be as free as possible. And I find that it is very helpful to avoid using the word until when creating a manifestation, or and when. And they kind of sort of go hand in hand, if you will. For example, saying, when I do such and such, then I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Or I can't wait until this happens so I can do this. I think that it's very, very important to just be clear about the result that you want or the experience that you're looking to have, and then let the universe just work it out. Because sometimes things can happen in an instant when you might actually think that you need more time or other conditions to be fulfilled. So I just want to point those words out. I like to avoid them when manifesting. You guys can let me know what you think and how that works for you.
When you really start thinking about the power of a word, it can change the way you feel about it and use it. And so I also want to make amends for using the word hate in regards to Indian food, because I felt like a real clod afterwards, because I think that that word hate about Indian food might suggest that I don't like Indians or Indian stuff, and my house is full of Indian art. I've got a beautiful sari over my couch. I studied Hinduism for several years, so I'm kind of down with Indian stuff. And I regret using the word hate in regards to Indian food. So that's that.
Right on. I mean, what an interesting journey to have with that word, and for us to be able to come back and revisit it. So I'm super excited that we were able to talk about that and get that resolved in the appetizer portion of the Spiritual Diner.
Yeah.
You ready to move on?
I am. And today, yay!
Today's special, we're going to be talking about energy.
Yeah, but not the kind of energy that we're used to, like electrical or nuclear or wind energy, but energies that we might not be familiar with.
Exactly.
So let's talk. Give us a definition of energy, Bosch.
It's right up there for you.
I know. So energy is the capacity or power to do work.
Yeah, I really like that definition of energy.
Yeah, and that's the definition that we would use in physical science or physics that some of us had to take twice.
But I think that it applies to all kinds of things, because the
Absolutely.
capacity or power to do work can be physical, but it can also be extremely spiritual. If I cast a spell or try to manifest something and things start to happen, I am responsible for that work. And I want to make sure that we also talk about what work is. So, work is exertion or effort directed to produce or accomplish something. Whether it's labor, work can also be toil, which we would like to avoid, but it just gives you that notion that your energy focused towards making something happen is considered work.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I was surprised at how many different aspects of energy there are, and ones that we don't even know about it. And it was even challenging to try to come up with what energies are we going to talk about today in a clear way. So today we're going to talk about 4 kinds of energies. We're going to talk about spiritual energy, plasma energy, vibrational energy, and my favorite, cosmic energy.
Fantastic.
So we're going to start off with spiritual energy.
Okay.
Spiritual energy is the energy generated by the inner self.
That's very interesting. So if we're to talk about like what that actually means, so that's words that I may put together. Is that just the me thinking about something? Like when you think, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump in for a second, because we're going to also be introducing plasma energy that's going to give clarity to all the different kinds of energies and stuff we didn't even know we needed clarity on.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Oh, okay. The definition that we seemed to like about plasma energy was the fourth state of matter made of highly charged quantum particles with no mass or weight. I want to point out that plasma makes up about 99.9% of what is observable in the world. So basically everything that we're interacting with in some scale is plasma energy.
Yes. And plasma energy has a lot of different aspects to it. When we were researching it, we were kind of surprised at how many different fields, like psychology, biology, and everything, cover plasma energy. But we're going to think of plasma energy as everything beyond our astral body, which is the aura that's around us, maybe 3, no more than 4 feet from our body. So that's what we're going to be talking about when we talk about plasma energy today.
Okay, nice. I'm just sending a quick message to everyone who is watching, let them know that they can join the conversation as we explore energy. So I remember being introduced to plasma energy when the movie What the Bleep Do We Know came out. Do you remember that movie? Because
yes,
they do
I do.
a whole thing about plasma energy and how we interact with it, and how our intentions and spiritual energy and intentions really can affect plasma energy and make it become new things, which ultimately is how we manifest and create things.
Yeah, and it's something that's huge in the metaphysical world, and we're learning more about it all the time. Science used to poo-poo it, but there is so much research now that suggests that it's a missing piece of our overall consciousness and what we can attain with our consciousness. So I'm excited about all those new ideas coming out. There's so much to learn.
And then apply, which is really super exciting. Okay.
So regarding spiritual energy, what are some examples of spiritual energy? And we're wondering what the viewers might think of that. So, what's spiritual energy? Is it when you encounter your granny that's been deceased for 30 years? Or is it when you're walking through the forest and you feel or sense a light following you? What's spiritual energy?
Very interesting. I think it's probably all of those things.
It is. And we're
You
wondering
know,
what the viewers think too, because uh, it's such a personal thing. And it's also on a continuum, I think, where some people are really open and can give lots of examples of themselves in spiritual energy. And then there's other people that it just doesn't ring true for them. And that's all good.
yeah. But yet everyone, I mean, I don't think there's anyone, whether they believe it or not, would say that they're not aware of spiritual energy, even if it's not their own. I mean, whether you're religious and you think that there's the presence of something or someone, or that something is affecting your behavior, or whether you feel it because you walk into a room and you feel a particular energy, you know, I mean, when we're talking about what is spiritual energy, to me, it's all of those things. And
So it's something that for some we can see or feel, experience through our senses. For some, it goes a little bit deeper and includes the sixth sense.
mhm.
So, what about things like a near death experience or precognition or meditation? Could all of those things be part of spiritual energy?
Hmm. Um, Precognition is particularly of interest to me. Getting signals, getting information, whether that's coming through just the mind's eye, through dreams, depending on how you're defining spiritual energy, that is part of it. I was working on a project, and the night before I sat down to actually write it, and it took me 3 or 4 days to actually write this project. Before I started writing it, I had a dream where it was very clear that I was not to use certain words. I like to use the words "and more," provide a list of what I'm going to give you, and then "and more." And it was extremely clear: do not say "and more" or etc. Use the words "and so on." And I thought, well, that's really sort of interesting, but it was really super clear. And since we've decided to actually do spiritual diners, so many different things have been happening for me, and I'm sure for you, that let me know that the spiritual energy that I'm creating and putting out, as well as that which I'm open to receive, has like really amplified. And so that precognition thing, however it's connected, I say it is definitely spirit
Yeah,
energy. Mhm.
totally. And all the clair things like clairsentient, clairaudient, all
Claire
those things we're
Danes.
going to talk about at
Mhm.
a later time.
Certainly, certainly.
Okay, so does everybody have spiritual energy though? Because I don't
Yeah.
think that, okay, I think that we could sense it and feel it in others, but I don't know that everyone has a sense of their spiritual energy or spiritual energy. Because I've got a relative, and when I'm talking to him about anything like we're talking about on Spiritual Diner, he just looks at me and he just doesn't relate. So I can see his spiritual energy, I can feel it, but he's just not in tune with that. And that's okay. That's not a judgment. Everyone's where they're supposed to be. But it makes me wonder if everyone really is aware of their spiritual energy and how powerful it is when you pay attention to it. Even just thinking this thought, I have spiritual energy, or there is spiritual energy, that opens up a door for more to come in. So I hope everybody can feel their spiritual energy, but I don't know if that's true.
Well, I mean, 'cause your question was, does everyone have it, or is everyone aware of it? And those are such great separate questions, right? Because of course everyone has spiritual energy. There's something to say about everything that is organic on the planet having spiritual energy. So everyone has spiritual energy. The question is whether or not they're aware of it, and whether or not they are wanting to get in tune with it. And we are a beacon of light for people who are either A, connected to their spiritual energy, or be not connected to their spiritual energy and want to become more connected to their spiritual energy. So,
That's the name Spiritual Diner.
Exactly. Like, could we be any more clear about what our intentions are? I want to make sure that we say hello to two people who are watching the show. We have Ramiro Reyes, who is a particularly close friend of the show. And then we also have Shannon Williams, who said, "Good morning, Vashi and Tammy. Love the show. We love having you here."
Hi, Shannon.
Let's go back to Ray's question, though. He says, what about the power of prayer? Would that be considered spiritual energy?
I think it totally is, because whenever I ask for something through prayer, it comes true. I can give 1,000 examples or just move on, but that's kind of an indicator that when you're praying, that you're open to receiving spiritual energy. And regardless of in my experience, regardless of the groups that are praying, like it could be something that's in the woo-woo realm like we are, or it could be maybe a more traditional, regimented group of folks. When you pray together, when you offer prayers alone or together, it's powerful. That's why there's that term, the power of prayer. And I can give examples. Can I just stick in one example of my very dear friend that had this like cantaloupe-sized tumor on her ovary, and she's very spiritual. She doesn't believe in all the traditional, well, she does believe, but she didn't want to go the traditional route. And so she's part of several healing groups. She's a healer herself, and in working on herself, she was able to make that tumor go away. Now, I haven't talked to her for 3 or 4 years, but through prayer on her own and within the context of the groups she works with, that tumor went away. And I have another friend, same thing. She had a really strange kind of cancer. And through prayer, Ayurvedic work, and searching out different kind of alternative healings, which is what spiritual energy is really all about, her cancer is gone. And another thing about her, when I met with her recently, she is transformed. She looks different. And I don't mean in a negative way. I mean in a positive way. I think she's someone that radiates what we'll talk about later, going from the 3rd to the 5th dimension. There's like a beam of light around her. And you just feel it. You feel her spiritual energy. So there's just so much to it. So, yes,
yeah.
Prayer, good.
And I also, it's connected. So the power of prayer is connected also to plasma energy. So, and connected to your power of words. So we are doing all of these shows in order intentionally, because we really do want to build a vocabulary and a base for which we can build on, and then take you guys through different exercises and really show you all these different types of powers that you really do have. So the power of prayer, using your words and setting intentions and casting your spell, if you want, however you wish to call it, is going to then affect the plasma energy.
Yes.
Which makes up everything. So they're so connected. One of the things, go ahead, because I'm going to remember what I'm going to say.
No, I just get overly excited. You know how I get.
Yes. So my introduction to the power of all of that was when we were in high school. And for those of you who don't know, Tammy and I went to high school together. We had a teacher, Mr. Girardi. And Mr. Girardi would say to us all the time, and as soon as I start saying that, anybody from high school is going to join in. He would tell us, he says, every day you need to look at yourself naked. You need to look at the front of you. You need to look at the side of you. You need to look at the back of you. And if you don't like what you see, you change it. Don't complain about it. Nobody wants to hear about it. If you don't like what you see, change it. And that taught me at a really young age that not only did I have the power to change who and what I was, but I had the responsibility to do that.
Yes,
and
yes.
So when you talk about your friend being able to heal herself through the power of prayer and intention and really affecting that plasma energy, I too have had experiences where I'm like, you know what? I want this thing to happen on my body. And really setting that intention and really focusing on it and have that happen. Like I don't work out. There are times when I get a little chubby and I'm like, you know what? The abs need to come back. And really just truly focusing on that. I'm like, okay, you guys are starting to show back up again. So we have those capabilities.
Yeah, totally. And so on Monday, yes, on Monday was a new moon, and I've talked before about putting out your intentions for a new moon and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But Monday was also a day when we went to a new dentist after 22 years of our former dentist. So there was some trepidation there. And I'm not easy on my doctors until they show me that I can trust them. But I thought today I'll go in with a different attitude, an attitude of gratitude, and be grateful that I get to go to the dentist. And so when I went, it was, well, I'm not going to say it was a fun experience, but it wasn't painful. The office staff was lovely. My little dentist, although he doesn't seem like he's out of high school, did a really great job, and they were able to meet my needs and answer my questions in a quick, appropriate way. I felt really good after leaving that. So that's not exactly prayer, but I do see it as plasma because I put my intention out there consciously. I'm not going to have a negative attitude with my doctor. I'm going to be positive, and it worked out because I came in there with that positivity, right? So that's going to reflect back on me.
Well, that is such an amazing segue into one of our other different types of energy, and that is vibrational energy. So vibrational energy are your emotions and thought patterns that affect our feelings, attitudes, and outcomes. And what you just said is an exact example of how your vibrational energy can affect an outcome and give you a different effect.
So it's tied into precognition.
I don't. Yeah. Well, how?
How? Because I have a sense that if I go in there with my sourpuss attitude that some people have said I have when I go to doctors, because I've had bad experiences with really crappy doctors. So instead of looking at it that way, I looked at it as though, no, it's a new day. It's a new office. I'm going to go in with a positive attitude. So that right there is putting out that energy to not be a negative Nancy, to go about it in a positive way. And then the whole day unfolded positively. So that's it. That's
well, yeah. I mean, it's a exact example of how vibrational energy is important and can definitely affect your outcome, and the importance of putting out a positive vibration all the time.
Yeah. And we're talking about vibrational energy because we are trying to add to our cosmic vocabulary, but also it's so important when we're talking about raising vibrations or lower vibrations, or that's a low vibration person, and what all that means. So we're kind of learning as we learn about vibrational energy, ways to slow down energy or speed up energy, enhance it in a way that works for us and helps us move forward on our path. So being aware of vibrational energy is part of developing our consciousness.
Most definitely. And it gives us something to be really, truly aware of. Are there...
Yeah.
No, go ahead. I
We
was going
can
to say...
feel that vibrational energy. And so I'm just wondering, how do we feel it? What's an example of feeling or sensing vibrational energy?
Well, first of all, vibrational energy is going to come out in someone's behavior.
Yeah.
It's going to show on their face in different ways. I mean, you meet someone and they've got a sourpuss expression, especially if you've ever worked in any sort of retail or service industry, right? Well, you've been a teacher as well, right? A parent comes in with their kids.
I had my stint in retail, and I still have an uncomfortable feeling at Christmas time. So I feel you. Yeah.
Right? Where you can just see someone's energy approaching you, and it affects the atmosphere, it affects the plasma, it affects that the vibe, because plasma energy, it's energy, it's going to reflect the vibe. So if someone's vibrational energy is completely off, you're going to see it from them and actually feel it in the energy, in the atmosphere.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Did you want to add anything to that?
Yes, but I want to be able to see. Okay. Well, so I'm thinking of dear old Mr. Girardi, who I think was misunderstood by a lot of people. He was really kind of ahead of his time for us and offered some really interesting perspectives. I'll never forget what I learned about Alexander the Great through Mr. Girardi. But I think of him, because you brought him up, as when he walked into the room, he changed the energy.
Yes.
People stopped talking and paid attention, or they were kind of snide and made little immature remarks that really kind of demonstrated where they were at vibrationally. And that really bothered me, even back then, when I didn't have awareness of what he was all about.
Right.
I really felt that, and that's probably why I took his class for a whole year. And what was his class on? The first part was on Chinese history and spirituality of all that, which was awesome. And then the second semester was devoted to Japan and all the same elements, but with Japan. And so when he walked into a room, he changed the energy of the room, and he changed the energy of people like me and you who were open to that, who weren't afraid by his presentation or maybe the way he talked. So yeah, it is felt when someone walks in the room, or the look on their face.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, he transformed the way I think about things. And, you know.
So I'm thinking he was a high vibrational person with probably limited patience.
You know, considering what he put up with as a teacher, I think that he was extremely resilient and high vibration. And I think he loved all of us. I mean, he would.
He wouldn't have been there and put up with the shenanigans that the kids pulled if he didn't. And isn't that nice? What a lovely soul.
Exactly. It's, you know, the world needs many more teachers like that. Well, okay, so what are some ways that people can raise their vibrational energy? You know, I'd like to explore that. Do you have any ideas? Or
yeah, and I'm wondering what the viewers think of that. I think you can raise your vibrational energy, which is where we want to go, right? We don't want to go down. We don't want to surround ourselves with a bunch of negative stuff. And so how we can raise our energy is to surround ourselves with people of equal or higher, especially higher vibration, because that lifts us up. Like, have you ever experienced when you meet somebody and maybe you don't know them very well, but they're so welcoming, you feel so comfortable with them? That's a reflection of their vibrational energy, and it's a reflection of you being sensitive to that vibrational energy.
Interesting. Because yes, so I agree with you. I mean, people around you can definitely affect your vibrational energy. But what happens if you're around someone who has low vibrational energy or wants to suck the energy out of the room or out of you? I mean, there are things like energy vampires who really just want to come in and just grab all the energy.
Or the N-word, narcissists. Okay, so part of us elevating our awareness of all of this is being able to detect there's one of those energy vampires. My advice, my experience, run away, go away, get out of there. At least know that that's a person you're not going to give your energy to or take in their negativity.
Interesting. Yeah. Yes, our vibrational energy can definitely be affected by other people. But we also have the greatest amount of control over our own vibrational energy. And what I find is that love has like the highest vibration. And whenever I find myself confronted with situations where love seems to be getting sucked out, I find that it is really super helpful to find a way to somehow infuse love into that situation. If it's not love for that person, it might be love for a banana or love for doing something else, but just somehow to get back into that place where the tingle of love resonates and then you
Yes.
get to push
Yes.
that other vibration away, or keep it at bay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it also makes me think that when we do that,
Mm-hmm.
when we're in a situation where we don't like it, or we don't like that person, or we know we're being lied to
Mm-hmm.
or manipulated in some way,
Mm-hmm.
and you go to that place of love and start imagining, it could be a banana, or it could just be, for me, I'm imagining the cosmic light, cosmic energy coming into me. So I was in a situation a few months ago with a very heated thing that's happening in our neighborhood that really affects my house and makes me feel like moving. And as the group was meeting to discuss what they think they're going to do with this, the green belt behind our house, I just knew that man was lying to me.
Uh-huh.
And he was mansplaining too. So when I saw that clearly, I just felt disgust, like, puh, you yucky person. But
Mm-hmm.
instead, I grounded myself and imagined that light coming in
Okay.
and tried to find something positive about him, which was at least he was taking the time to address some of our questions. But I also saw, not just because I'm a clairvoyant, but I saw that he was lying and manipulating. Oh, you know something about that too? There was another person in the group that was believing those lies.
Oh.
And that really bothered me because I'm very close to that person. And so that kind of created a little block or a chasm between us. But by turning that yucky situation and that mansplaining guy into something positive, by bringing in light and noticing he did have nice shoes, it shifted. And
Yeah.
it shifted what I think comes across as a bad attitude from me sometimes. Um, so it was a learning experience, and looking through that lens can only benefit us.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait to hear what ends up happening with this whole process, because it's a lot going on. And if it's got you thinking that you may need to move, that's some energy to clear out, and I can send you some good positive
And
vibes and
yeah.
good spiritual
So
energy.
when it was all building up over the last couple of years, and it caused a lot of discord with neighbors,
Mm-hmm.
but I am directly affected because they're going to encroach upon the green belt behind my house.
Uh-huh.
And so when that process was going on and we were getting ready to vote for whether we wanted to proceed with it or not, I just felt a lot of negativity from neighbors and others. And so I thought, well, I can move, but that's not really an option.
Right. Well, yeah.
Or I can view this differently. So
Mm-hmm.
that's when prayer, spiritual energy, whatever, I said, show me a way to deal with this. And I actually made a posting on my Facebook about it where I put the sign of the measure that I was against, but my caption was, let it all work out, or something like, it will all work out for the best. So that's an example of putting forth that plasma energy into a situation that was unclear and really negative. And there's kind of a little bit of good news. When they had the last meeting with a different mansplainer, we learned that even though we will be affected, it is to a lesser degree than we thought. And I feel that's because I kept thinking, please let this work out.
Mm-hmm.
Please let it be okay. Because, I've got Jub Jub, my giant tortoise. And whenever there's activity on the other side of our fence where that green belt is, he gets agitated and he can start pushing against the fence because
Mm-hmm.
he wants to know what's going on, what's there.
Right.
And that could be dangerous. We don't want him to break the fence, which he can, or
Get loose, which he can and has.
or
You know,
escape.
yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I'm going to speak on behalf of everyone and anyone who watches this, that we're going to be sending you a lot of positive energy, healing energy, good vibrational energy, to have it all work out for everyone, especially Jub Jub, because of all the creatures that are most affected by it, he has the meekest voice. I mean,
Yes.
He speaks through you, but we need to all really protect Jub Jub, my nephew.
And our animals have spiritual energy. our connection and communication. The animal communication is all about receiving that plasma energy and being able to give it back. I forgot where I was going with that, but I'm thinking, what for you is positive vibrational energy? What do you do to raise your vibrational energy?
Well, as I was saying before, depending on what's going on, I try to find a sense of love. For me, love just vibrates at the highest level. And when I'm not there, I feel it. So whether it's making jokes so that I laugh, finding something that makes, me giggle, or engaging in something that I truly, truly enjoy, thinking about being with or around someone that I really enjoy. Those are the things that usually will help to shift my energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
And
about you?
being around positive people,
Mm-hmm.
and finding what works for me, what I'm willing to put up with, what I'm not willing to put up with, and considering my boundaries. Because when you start to think of yourself and spiritual energy, vibrational energy, and you're on that spiritual path, it's like things happen that you can't unsee and you can't go back. So I found that if that I don't want to be around negative people. I don't want to be around these energy vampires and those people that just suck the life force right out of you. So, like you, I choose to be with positive people and in positive situations. And you can feel, before you're even face to face, you can feel what it's going to be like with that other person. But you can also tap into that love that you're talking about, which eases the sting of the negativity that's there with that person. So it's kind of turning a negative into a positive by visualizing love.
Mm-hmm. Most
And
definitely.
everything is about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why they say all you need is love. So when you're with a poopy person, or you're in a kind of crappy situation, pull in that love. Do whatever it is, whatever tools you embrace to put yourself in that place where you're coming from a place of love. So you're not so offended, put off, and don't give a nasty attitude.
Yeah, and again, if the vibration or your vibration has nothing to do with another person, it is just you and your energy, and you need to shift it. You know,
Yeah.
for me, sometimes it's even just cleaning, because dust has energy. Uh,
Oh,
items have energy, and sometimes just getting
yeah.
rid of certain things can lift the vibrational energy as well. So
Yeah.
vibrational energy.
Before, just 1 second before moving on,
Hmm.
um, when you talk about cleaning,
Hmm.
that cleanses out energy in a huge way. Sometimes when I get called upon to do a house cleansing because they think there's ghosts or spirits there,
Hmm.
I just want to well, I do tell them clean. A good thing to do is clean, because when you're cleaning, I can hear a couple of my friends thinking all she does is clean. But
But it's important.
when you're cleaning, you're removing the energy, you're
Uh-huh.
replacing it with new energy.
Hmm.
And that goes for all unpleasant chores that we have to do, like weeding or picking up poop. You just imagine it in a more positive way. Bring in the love, and it makes the yucky better. Raises your vibration, right? Because, and don't you, and that's why we brought up a few things from last week we wanted to clarify, like the word hate. When I sat with that for a while, I just thought, ew, that's not what I want to put forth.
Hmm.
I can still communicate the idea, but be in a more careful, sensitive way. And so, does that make sense? It feels bad when something comes out that's really unpleasant when you know better. That's what I meant by that term. Once you've seen it, you can't go back. Once you're on this path and you experience certain things, you can't go back. You have to put up boundaries or move on or find ways to deal with a negative situation from a place of love.
Well, of course, and we're here for growth, so it's a safe space to say and do things that we will find out later whether or not they were the right things. You said something really, really important that is really important in coaching, um, and that is, once you've said something, you can't go back. And that, I want to clarify what I mean by that. Once you put something out there, it's there. You have said it. You cannot take it back. All you can do is deal with what has been said, because there clearly had to be some truth to it, right? Whether it's, um, I'm afraid to drive, or, whatever the thing is, I'm scared of dating. Once you say it and your consciousness has heard it, it is going to do one of a few things. It's going to keep on with it. It is going to want to change it, you know, so somehow you are already in the process of growth. So I thought, as you said, it was very, very important to come back in and talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I support you wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Yay, vibrational energy.
Yes.
Okay, so let's move on.
Cool.
To my favorite, cosmic energy. So cosmic energy means the life energy of the universe itself that extends everywhere, everything.
Yeah. That's a good one. I really do like the whole notion of cosmic energy. A good friend, our friend Alana, who I believe watches the show. She'll comment at some point in time. But she's always referred to me as cosmic. I have always had this sense of cosmic energy and the energy that is all around us, that affects us, that we affect, and that in some cases has its own consciousness.
Yes.
Right.
Totally.
We think, there are many ways that people spread that notion of cosmic energy and cosmic consciousness, in organized religions, non-organized religions, just in terms of the universe. But it is everywhere, and it's very, very powerful, and we get to interact with it.
Yes. Yeah. And a lot of what we'll do on Spiritual Diner is explore cosmic energy and how to tap into it and use it, because really it's just a deeper form of plasma.
It is.
Plasma is everything. I'm really excited, Vash, because I just kind of get off on learning all the science that goes behind all of these concepts. Not that I'm great at it or can explain it, but if Maria Badia is watching, because I know she watches, she'll really relate to this, because we both pretty much flunked our physics class in college. We were both under the same scholarship, and we got D's, and that wasn't allowed, and got to take the class over.
Okay.
But we were always talking about spiritual things and stuff like we're talking about now, although we didn't have the vocabulary. And the teacher was this old sourpuss, negative lady. It felt like she just didn't like us. And so when I reflect upon that, all the energies are coming up. But I mentioned Maria Badia and that physics class because now at this stage in my life, I can comprehend all these bigger ideas, not the math associated, but I get these ideas, and I'm kind of proud of that. And I just want to say to you, you physics teacher, it's all within our grasp of understanding if we open up our thinking to cosmic energy.
I thought that was a complete sentence. If we open up our thinking, period. Like, everything that we're talking about and everything that we're going to be exploring as we move forward is going, it's set to open people's minds and their thinking. And then we're going to challenge that even further. I'm especially excited about this particular episode because of what it's going to lead to. Right? Like, this is the third episode of talking about really important things that are the foundation of the Spiritual Diner, and where we're hoping to take people, because we are all on this spiritual ascension and growth and development, and it is better with more people. So welcome.
Yeah. And we wonder what our viewers think, what their experiences with all of this are, and to just ponder it. Let it be a seed that you plant, because once you start thinking about this, it changes your perspective. Because, Vash, everything is energy.
Everything is energy. Everything is energy. I mean, we talked about the whole notion that plasma energy is all of that. We can see each other, but physicists have said that we are mostly air. Well, we're mostly water, but like there's an emptiness around most things that seem solid because of the way the plasma energy has put itself together. So,
yes. Okay, but how can everything be energy? How can this table be energy? How can that rock be energy? What do we mean by everything has energy? Well, isn't it because you can feel these things? Maybe for some you can see. At
Uh-huh.
the beginning of the show, I said, I looked up, I saw this crystalline I don't know if I got to that part, I don't remember. But anyway, one day I was looking at the sky and I looked up and there was what I perceive as a crystalline structure, a
Hmm.
grid. And since that day, nothing's been the same. My perception and energy is different.
Hmm.
And so by tuning into that, it just leads to the next thing where you just go deeper into how everything has energy. Everything has energy. And there's so many ancient arts that reflect that too. And we were
Uh-huh.
going to talk just a wee bit about psychometry. We had to pick one, there's a billion. But psychometry is something that alludes to our idea that everything has energy. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
It's
psychometry is the ability to discover facts about an event or a person by touching an object associated with that person. So,
so,
for example, if you gave me a bracelet that somebody gave to you, if I was good at psychometry, I would be able to give you information about that, where it came from, who gave it to you, the sentiments behind it. Just the fact that you gave me that thing to hold and think about, there's energy right there. There's plasma right there.
mhm.
If and think of objects. I know objects have energy. Like you and I have joked that when my bio dad passed away, he left. Oh, maybe it wasn't you. He left me a bong. He left me this Chinese kind of water pipe
Mhm.
thing. And at first, I'm like, wow, what am I going to do with that? But it had energy. It had
Yeah.
a very specific energy of him. So that's an example of an object that had energy.
Not only that, but well, energy in itself, but also an amazing amount of love. I'm sure he had infused into that over the years. So that's super exciting.
And it makes a nice candle holder.
Bongs do like to be near flames. but that's
Okay.
but even
Yeah.
plants
Yeah.
have energy, and
Yes, they
some
do.
even say spirits, so they could it's possible that they have spiritual energy.
Yes. And
Hmm.
when I was talking about that experience where I looked up at the sky and I was what I perceived as a crystalline grid,
Hmm.
that changed me because that's when I started, when I came home from that journey and I looked at Jub Jub, who's usually brown and dirty. He was glowing. The tans and yellows that are embedded in his shell were
Hmm.
glowing and moving. I became more aware of the aura around him. And at that time, I'm looking around at the garden and I felt and saw the same thing where it was alive, like there was aura around the things that I was looking at.
Hmm.
And that's the kind of thing that we can tap into when we're working on ourselves and learning about the different kinds of energies and how we can use those energies to make ourselves better and
Hmm.
be able to detect it in other people so that we can move on in a positive way.
Hmm.
So we were hoping to address a little bit about, well, what do we do? What are some of the things that will raise our spiritual vibration and our all of our vibrations, our cosmic vibration, as well as the one that I can't think of right now, vibrational energy. That's it, vibrational energy.
Yeah. um,
So,
that's
what can we do to enhance those things? What
uh,
about spiritual energy? How do you enhance that?
how do you enhance spiritual energy?
Yeah. For me, when I really thought about it, just the idea of, oh, there's a thing called spiritual energy, that's
Hmm.
opening up a door, that's opening up a window.
I was going
So,
to say our thoughts are definitely
yeah,
the
yeah.
starting point for adjusting any of our energy, as well as consciousness, and
So,
our
yeah.
thoughts then go into the words that we use to set that intention to then make it happen. So it starts from the thought, translates into the words, which then translates into the physical. So it's already energy in our brain, but then we make it more physical energy.
And just by being aware, there's a thing called spiritual energy. I am open to that.
Mm-hmm.
But how can we raise our other energies? Like, let's talk about vibrational energy. What can we do to lift our vibrational energy? And I'm wondering what viewers do to lift their vibrational energy. We touched on this a little bit earlier, but how can we go deeper with that?
Yeah, that'll be lovely to uh, have them chime in and let us know, because we do read your comments on all of the different platforms, and we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, and we are on Twitter. We're also on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and Amazon Music. So whether you want to see us, which I think is very special because we're kind of cute, and or just listen to us because, well, the power of the words and our voice also has energy. However you find us, answer some of the questions we've been asking. How do you raise your vibrational energy? What is ways that vibrational energy, when you've changed yours, has affected a situation? Oh, this has led me to one of my favorite things to do to shift my vibrational energy and to shift my energy. It is common for people to want to count to 10 when confronted with a situation. And I have learned I have got to count to 20.
Okay.
By the time I get to 10, things have shifted. But by the time I get to 20, magic happens, because then the other people around me have been affected by the fact that there has been a pause. And in that time frame, they've had time to reflect. And truly, like, things just open up. It's magical. So count to 20. Don't count to 10, count to 20.
And use your words.
Yes.
Music can affect our vibration,
Mm-hmm.
and expanding our vibrational energy, our environment. And later we're going to talk about, not today, but later, sacred spaces.
Mm-hmm.
How
we're going to
that
talk
can
about environment in a
transform.
big way.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't even do any kind of work that requires thinking if everything is not in its place and I'm not feeling groovy about my space. That's who I am, can't help it. So what can we do to enrich or enhance cosmic energy? So I think just hearing the term cosmic energy plants a seed.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if the key to enhancing that cosmic energy is to just learn to be open-minded and with an open heart, which means, when I say an open heart, you're not putting up a block that says, I don't trust you, I don't like you. You may sense that on an intuitive level, but don't put that up because it blocks the love that can come through. It blocks the love that you're going to project. So when we're learning about cosmic energy, I think it's about embracing new things. For me, it's all that sciencey stuff that we were talking about that I was getting off on as I was learning about energy.
Mm-hmm.
But learning new things is so important because that expands us, and learning about space, science, any aspect of spirituality really puts us in that place to learn more about cosmic energy.
So are you saying, so if we're saying that cosmic energy exists and it's everywhere and that is somehow connected to plasma, are you saying that we're shifting the plasma, or are we shifting the cosmic energy that may also come with its own cosmic conscience and consciousness?
Ooh. Yes, I am saying all of that. It does involve plasma because you're putting out an intention. So for me, I'm wondering about how you embrace cosmic energy, but for me, I have to learn the science behind it, because I know that when I'm doing psychic work, a lot of people feel that that's not valid, but I like to understand the reasons why it is valid. That helps me grow and develop my ideas of cosmic energy.
Interesting.
Did I answer that?
I mean, enough. I'm okay with that answer. So I strongly, strongly recommend, if you have not already and you're watching us and watching the show, that you go and you watch What the Bleep Do We Know? It is a movie about the physics about everything that we're talking about. And they explain it
Absolutely.
in a way that I think explains it with examples. You've got Marley Matlin in, so you follow someone who is going through experiences, and then they talk to people about the science, and there's really lovely diagrams and animation. But I would strongly recommend that you watch What the Bleep Do We Know? And if I thought about it, let me see if I can even bring... So you can keep talking, because we are, wrapping up this conversation about energy.
So I'm hoping that we planted a seed with people about the different kinds of energies that we talked about today. Because when you tap into those, just being aware of them and thinking about it, it does change your vibration. It increases your spirituality. It makes cosmic energy seem like, where has this been all my life? It's such a missing key to all of the unknowns that we experience, like what's presented in What the Bleep Are We Doing? Wish we had another hour.
Yeah, it would be great. Well, it's not letting me pull up what I would like to pull up to show people, but clearly I'm going to put it into the comments as a little homework assignment for everyone. Watch What the Bleep Do We Know?
Yeah. I'm wondering if there's any movies or books that viewers have watched that really clarified all of these energies that we're talking about today, or changed them in a way where you can't ignore it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it's hopefully we've done a lot of that as well, because it's really important, at least for me, to make sure that we're bringing everyone on board with this journey, so that when we go on to episodes 5 and 6 and beyond, that we've really got a good, strong foundation on which to stand.
Yes, because the world's a changing, and we have got to adapt and grow with that, or we stay on a lower vibration and become one of those people, perhaps it's like, get off my yard type of things, and that's not what we're about.
Not at all.
Wow, Vash, there's a lot to talk about here.
Yes, there was. And it's been a super great conversation. I've had a really great time talking to you about energy, and this conversation has really, once again, fed my soul. So I'm taking away a good understanding of spiritual energy, a more profound appreciation for plasma energy. What about you? What are you taking away, Tammy?
I'm taking away that I have another hour of things to talk about, because energy is so interesting, because it's everything is energy. When you really tap into that, you can't go back. You've got to evolve. And even if you're not into all the spiritual stuff, you're going to be smarter.
Absolutely. So
Well,
go ahead.
Thank you, Vash, for leading this and starting Spiritual Diner. I love all of the little graphics that you do. And thank you, everybody, for tuning into Spiritual Diner. I'm Tammy Reyes, and it's been so fun serving you this big old dose of energy today.
Yes. And if you found any value in this show, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. Find us everywhere. We are Spiritual Diner on all platforms.
Absolutely. And until next time, keep your consciousness open. I'm Tammy Reyes.
I'm Vash, Boddie, and we will see you next time on the Spiritual Diner, where our focus and topic will be on the 3 R's. And that, ooh, I know, right?
What's that?
It is release, replace, and receive.
And Vash, that content was channeled by my guide, so I hope it's going to be something that everybody tunes in for. Yay!
I hope so too. Otherwise, we're having conversations with your guides. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you next week on the Spiritual Diner.